Okay, I'm John Bessendorfer. I live here in what we call Casperville. Lived here all of my life on the same property. I'm now 86 years old, going on 87.
I'm Bodie Johnson. I'm a senior at Wasatch High School. I ski, I bike, I work here, I guess. Yeah.
I'm Nora Davis.
I'm Ellison Facer.
I'm Sadie Beagley.
And I'm Charlotte Emery.
We are the child ambassadors for Midway City, and what we do there is we do a lot of community service and we perform and spread joy wherever we go.
All right, my name is Colleen Potter. I've been living here about 17 years now. I was first moved here, I had young children, and I spent a lot of time in the schools and doing things with the PTA and volunteering in the classrooms. I became a president of the Friends of the Library Board, and then later ran for elected office and was on the city council, and eventually I was the mayor.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hardy. I'm the owner of My Brother's Pastries Bakery, currently at the Midway Farmers Market.
My name is Yuri Jensen, and I play two hats in the community. I'm a volunteer, and I'm an employee of the Wasatch County School District, and my volunteer job is to run the Wasatch Latino Coalition. But we're a group of people who gather. Our mission is to connect families with resources, advocate for a better and a greater community, and we do this through education, collaboration, as well as engaging those families in our school community and county.
Meredith Hendricks. I own a business called Paper and Felt, and I sell felt products, mostly like garlands and banners for different holidays.
My name is Juan Tomás Lee Morales. That sounds very, very long, but Juan, everybody calls me Juan. I am the library director, which means I am one part the bureaucrat. I am the enforcer of the rules. I am the one who has to pay the bills. But I also get an exciting opportunity to say, let's try this idea. And I can think for a second and say, how do we make this happen? And I like that. I like the challenge of, okay, let's figure this out. How can we make this happen? Yeah, I do have to clean the toilets every now and then when there's an emergency, but service, I think, is the exciting part of it.
Depends on where you go. I would say Charleston is 100% like rural area. But like if you go into Heber, it doesn't really feel rural. So like if you go down the main street, there's tons of shops and buildings.
Yeah, I would still. I know it's changing quickly and there's places that are more rural, but it's still rural compared to the Wasatch Front.
I think I would consider it rural because there are still many family farms despite the rapid growth of population. And so like the creamery, everybody loves that. It's family owned and operated. And there are lots of different hay farms and lots of things that I think make it still a rural place to be.
I think Wasatch County is an interesting case, and I would almost say it has this bipolar condition. Historically, I think a lot of people who have lived here think of the area, the whole county, as being rural. In a metropolitan area, you don't see four-wheelers on the city streets, and here you do. Also, not every street has paved sidewalks. Here you have more gravel, more grass, more open spaces. You still have a few farms around. So to me, those are remnants or indications of our history as a rural agricultural area. And in fact, a lot of people living in other areas might think, yeah, Heber City, it's a smaller town, it's got a agricultural history, open spaces, not so many people, it feels rural. We know that's changing, and a lot of people are coming in looking for those things. And as we come, because I'm a newcomer too, we tend to change things.
the way it was when I was growing up, and maybe my life tells a little bit, somewhat about the valley as well, what it was like. But I grew up in the home here on the farm, and there wasn't any telephones or things like that, and electricity had just come into our home 1 year before I was born. Of course, we had a farm, and we had the cows, and we milked the cows by hand every night and morning, about a dozen cows. But over the years, because of the influx of people and land being taken up and different conditions and that, it made it more difficult to have the farms. A count was made of how many dairy farms were in the valley, and there were 273 dairies in this valley. And now there's two dairy farms.
Well, you look at any statistics, you look at any demographic studies, you can have two reactions. One is, wow, there's a lot of change going on. Or the other reaction is, wow, there's a lot of change going on.
I think it's really crazy and hard to grasp the idea of it changing so often and so quickly. And I think that's what makes it hard to live here as well as enjoyable.
There's so many road detours, like every week there's a new one. It's a little bit unsettling. It's just constantly growing, but I know most of us have agreed like we want to keep it small and it's just best that way, but it's just constantly growing.
I think they have changed a lot regarding the resources for Hispanic families. I moved here 5 years ago, and I remember asking Latino families like if they had a place to gather, if there was someone providing resources in the community, and they say no, that support. And we gather and we brainstorm ideas on how to support them better. And if you notice sometimes like a flyer that is translated in Spanish through an organization or an event or publicity, it's because probably we're behind the scenes. So not just on paper, but also on the radio or just like in here in the schools. I try to make sure that the families understand how they can support the Latino students and also staff. Mm-hmm.
Current changes that I don't love all the construction development that's going on. I don't love the kind of destruction of all the like rural beauty that we have and just more buildings. Honestly, it doesn't really affect our business, but it is sad for the valley.
Well, I was mayor of my community, and I'll tell you, one of the most important things to me and why I ran for mayor, we were just starting to get a lot of growth here, and a lot of people had discovered this valley and thought, wow, I want to live there. And so, but it felt like we were being reactive. Like someone would come in and say, hey, can you rezone that? We want to do this. And we'd have to look at every decision without an updated master plan where we could say, here's where we want to go. Here's the kind of community we're going to be. And so one of my biggest priorities was to be able to do more planning. And so we had an Envision Heber 2050 process where we had community members come in and they marked things on maps and said, well, we should have a park and we should have trails and here's where the dense housing should go. And so we created a new plan for that and new plans for parks and cemetery. And so that's one of the things that I felt like was important, because although we are growing and we can't stop the growth, we certainly can plan for it and make it still feel rural as much as possible and try to make it flow in a way that you keep cars off the roads as much as possible. So that was one of the big things that I tried to do.
First of all, Midway got a traffic light. I'd say that's pretty big. So, yeah. Second of all, I just feel like a lot more stuff's being developed right now. So, like, if you like look anywhere in Midway, like a couple of years ago when I moved here, some of the plots of land were just lands, not houses. So it's got a little sad.
It has been fine, the growth, you know, and everything. People coming in, they bring their own cultures and everything, and and sometimes very different from our own that we've had here in the valley, but we make adjustments, and they have to, and we have to, and so that we can get along well with each other. And but it is a different lifestyle than what I grew up with.
Well, I don't think Wasatch County has ever been static. I think it has been changing since day one. And in fact, I was just reading, somehow I missed that when this area was first established, Heber City was called London City. It wasn't until the 1862, I believe, don't quote me on that one, but it was late that it was renamed to Heber City in honor of Heber C. Kimball, a prominent leader in the area. So to me, that means change. That means it's been changing all along. Now, the change has been accelerated a lot in the last 20 years. And so, like I said, there's a lot of people like me who have moved into the area. For me, it was work. For others are because there is something that speaks to them, and it speaks to that special, something that calls. And so, yeah.
Well, when I started school in the first grade, there were 5 students in the first grade. I remember the students riding horses to school, and would tie elementary school, and a few at high school too. But they would tie up their horses there at the school while we were in school. And I have a picture of Main Street when I was in high school in the middle of the day. It showed a 1 mile distance on Main Street in Heber. There was 1 car on Main Street in Heber. Now how many are there in the middle of the day in Heber?
I think it's going to be pretty big because, as I said, it's constantly growing. And there's definitely going to be more people, and there's probably going to be like 7 Ridleys. I don't know.
In a previous work, I would travel through here, going to the Uinta Basin, and Heber was a lot smaller. I do remember coming into the valley and seeing the hot air balloons coming up early in the mornings. Now it takes a lot longer to cross the valley. And I do expect that's going to keep going for a while. I do believe it will continue to grow. It will continue to change. We will continue to push the boundaries of what the valley can offer as a livable place. It is a challenge, but I think there are exciting opportunities.
Well, I've seen a lot of growth. I've seen a lot of new retail stores come in, and restaurants, and a lot of new housing. There are a lot of open fields that are now full of houses and townhouses that used to just be open fields. I've seen the schools get more crowded. I've seen, other opportunities come that happen when you have more people. So, new hospital, just lots of new things that happen when you have growth.
Like I said, a lot more development and stuff like that. And just more people. The high school will be finally done. That'd be kind of interesting too. So yeah.
And so it's been good. The different cultures that they bring in to the valley, the people that have come here from different states and cities and even countries, and so that way the schools are bigger. There's more a variety of churches and everything like that now as compared to what it used to be.
I would say that's very rich culture, and it's not just from one family or just a certain group of settlers that came here. It's really begun to evolve and change, but I don't think it's ever lost the value in its roots. That's what I love.
I love the valley and the history about it.
I think my favorite thing about it is how beautiful it is, but I also love the people in it, how everyone's drawn together to help the community. I love that you can always find someone that you know just because it's a small town. So that's awesome.
I love the pretty mountains and kind of just like how small the town is. It just makes me feel like really at home, and it makes me feel like relaxed, and it just gives off like such a great vibe, and like Gives you such a good feeling, like this is where you're like truly meant to live.
It's not terribly like busy. It's not overcrowded. I mean, by a lot anyways. I used to live in a bigger city, so just nice. And then I love like all the outdoor activities that you can just do out here.
I grew up in a city, so I thought that I would miss city things, but I really don't miss it, and I don't mind driving the canyon.
Just a fun place to live. I mean, it's like not like a big city. We don't really have anything to do here, so that's like the one thing I wouldn't miss. There's like no activities unless you want to go outside and do something. But just, I don't know, there's a lot of fun outdoor activities. Like you can go to the lake, you can go bike like into the mountains and do like tons and tons of stuff. There's just stuff to do around here that's outdoorsy, so I like that.
I really connect with the mountains. I love just hiking year round. Like there's a beautiful trail along Deer Creek, and I will go up there year round and just feel like I've stepped out of civilization.
It's beautiful. I like the small town feel, knowing my neighbors, and I think it's a really awesome community with great people who I think people move here kind of for the same reasons, so people like value the community and like keeping it a nice place for families, keeping it kind of that small town.
The environment, I think, is very, very prominent. No matter what you do, where you go here in the Heber Valley, nature is very prominent. You look out and you see mountains, and you see green, and you see colors. We have bodies of water. Those are always very special. But a place like that by itself, it can be a nice place, and that's it. People has to be part of that too. And I've met a lot of people who have treated me very, very well, with kindness and friendly faces and smiles. And that makes us a place, I think, special, in addition to all the other things.
I would miss having people that I know all over around me. I think that I don't know, that would make me and the business more vulnerable, and just like not having that support base that you get from such a small community. I love Wasatch, and Wasatch is what's helped build this bakery.
I also just love how this community works together.
I probably miss how close and tight-knit the community is, because everybody seems to know everybody else and just all friendly. It's a place where people still smile at each other and wave.
I don't know, I think Wasatch County is the best in the state. I mean, there's a lot of work to do, but we have good values. We have hardworking people. I love that we have all the seasons, and I like that our community is united. We do a lot of things to support those in need. I love that we have so many that, we lift each other in this county. Everybody's worried for the well-being of everyone.
I think the people that live in rural communities have a little bit different views on life and lifestyles and that than what city people have.
We're very, very lucky to live in such a beautiful place, and people want to see that. People want to experience that. For us that live here, can we provide an opportunity, not only for the people that visit, but for those who live here, to really enjoy life? One thing that I would like to see in our town, in our communities, is as we grow, we search for the opportunities to create community, to come together, to talk to people. I hope we can retain many of those things. As we grow, there are challenges for sure, but I think with communication, good intentions, with the desire of respect each other, we can make this still a special place regardless of the changes.